How's it going, Critter Family? I hope you all are doing well. I got a question a little while back that I wanted to answer much sooner, so forgive me for taking so long to answer it, but this is a really good question. Someone from the channel has a young, or hopefully still young, puppy, Shiba puppy that is going after their cats. And they asked on the short video that I uploaded of Adonis and Hermes, Adonis stealing a toy back from Hermes, a giant sausage. They asked how I got Adonis and Hermes to get along and not try to kill each other. Mainly how Adonis does not try to eat Hermes. And so I wanted to answer that question for them. I think they have two older cats, and their Shiba puppy. And the Shiba puppy, of course, like all puppies, wants to go after the cats. So I want to give you some advice that helped me, and hopefully it can help you, if you're still having these issues, hopefully you're not, but if you are, then hopefully this can help you out a little bit. So the first thing I always suggest is management. Management. And what that means, that can mean a whole lot of different things. What it means for me is having your puppy on a leash and a harness anytime they're going to be loose. If you can't, and that leash is attached to me or tethered to something, but preferably to me or someone who can watch them. If you can't watch them, I love to put them in either a puppy pen. You can put them in a different room with something for them to chew on. Again, supervise them. You can, if they're crate trained, you can put them in a crate for a little bit, or have somebody else watch them and hold on to that leash. For little ones, little puppies and young animals, and even, Hermes, when I was trying to leash train him, which didn't go very well because he's so tiny, he can't stay in a harness. He just he noodles his way through and he slips out. But I use a bungee leash, or a leash that has some elastic in it. So if the little one does start to dart for the cats, then that bungee takes the majority of the force, and it brings them back, so they don't just run into the end of a leash. We don't want anybody hurting themselves. So that's number one thing, is leash and harness on the puppy pretty much anytime I have a puppy, regardless of having cats or not. The other thing, baby gates or fences or pens are going to be a big help for you if you have a very big house. It allows the cats to jump over it. You want to make sure you have lots of upper levels for the cats to get up so they can feel safe. And the puppy, we're just watching them, or a young dog or even a new dog. Same thing. Same advice goes for I think, for me, for a lot of different circumstances. And when you're ready, you can have lots of training opportunities that can be very, very quick. They can be 30 seconds, they could be 5 minutes, probably no more than 15 or 20 minutes at a time, I would say, for that little tiny brain. But there's always a great time to train with your puppy, where if you have them on leash, you have a handful of really high value treats that they like. With Adonis, when I got him used to Hermes, I used pepperoni. He loved pepperoni in that little red bag. I would give him bits of deli meat. He was very spoiled anyway, but he got little bits of deli meat, turkey, ham. He's allergic to chicken, but you can get that. You can use maybe little bits of hot dog or steak, whatever your dog finds to be very rewarding. Give them that high value reward when you're training with the cats. That way that it's like, whoa, cats are amazing. And it's better to look at my person and avoid the cats instead of wanting to go for the cats itself. Interacting with my human is way better than going after the cats. So anytime you have your little puppy and you're just chilling and a cat walks by and you're prepared for that, you have your puppy on your little leash, we're letting our puppy look at the cat, take in information, and we can see if they're going to start to stare, where we can interrupt that, or we can prevent that from even happening. So there's a couple options you can do. If your puppy starts seeing the cat, you can make a kissy noise right away. Make a noise, nothing too aggressive, just maybe snap your hands or hey, boo-boo, whatever, or call their name. And as soon as they look at you, bam, that's when you want to reward. And then you let them go back to looking at the cat. If they look at the cat and they look back at you, perfect, reward again. If they continue staring at you, reward again, because they know the cat is there, but they're choosing to look at you because it's more rewarding. We can fade away from treats later on, but right now we just want to teach the puppy and really reinforce that behavior and practice that behavior, that looking at the cats, it's just old news. Every day, whatever. But looking at the human when the cats are around, that's good. You can also, over time, when your puppy is just chilling and the cats are walking by, you can wait before you reward or before you redirect them. So if they're looking at the cat and they see it walking by and they have kind of like a curious look, you can give them a couple seconds to see if they're going to practice that behavior of looking at you. So the cat walks by, puppy looks at the cats, then they look at you, reward. But if the cat walks by and the puppy is staring at them and they start to get more and more, say they're in a sit and they stand up and they get a little excited, that's the moment that you want to start redirecting them, getting their attention. If you have to, you may need to get up and walk away a few steps away or a few feet away, increase that distance, and then try again. Try to get their attention, or just stand there and see what they're going to do. Give your puppy or adult dog or elderly dog, whatever age your dog is, give them an opportunity to use that little mind and try to figure out the right answer. That will very likely stick with them longer when they figure it out on their own versus always being distracted when that stimulus is by. So I don't like to just keep their eyes on me when something is walking by. I want them to, over time, be able to see the other animal, smell the other animal, see them jump and get excited and whatnot. But we have prepared our puppy or adult dog that no matter what they're doing, I am better. So you can let the cat walk by calmly. Over time, you can let them jump. You can toss a treat for the cat as well, and teach your dog to leave it. You can even start pairing the behavior with leave it. So if you're get the behavior down first, don't worry about the verbal. If your puppy's looking at the cat and they look away, keep rewarding that until it becomes a habit. Then you can start adding the leave it cue. When they look at the cat, say leave it once. If you wish to, you don't have to. The puppy looks at you, reward. Good job. So that way you can teach your puppy that they can not only leave a treat alone in front of them, but they can also leave another living object alone that's moving. And again, if your puppy makes a break for it, you have them on leash and hopefully on a nice bungee cord so nobody gets hurt, or they're behind a little puppy pen. If they start getting really rowdy behind the puppy pen, with that barrier in front of them where they can't get to the cat, we can expect that because that's barrier frustration, barrier reactivity. That's why dogs bark and go crazy when they're on leash. They can't get to what they want to. It creates frustration, anxiety, or they react a lot when they're behind a fence. So that's something that we can work on to prevent for the future. So if your little puppy starts getting frustrated and whatnot behind the fence, then try to redirect them to move away from the fence or the gate or whatever it may be, or even to loosen their leash, to come to you away from that. And that will be rewarding for them. You may have to pick them up. You may have to move them away. You may have to create more distance between where the puppy is and where they see the cats, because that might be too strong of what I would call a draw, or too much energy going on, too much interest for your puppy to be able to leave it alone. Over time, you can get your cats closer and closer and your puppy closer and closer to your cats. But of all things, I think it would be easiest for you to be able to control the puppy or whoever the aggressor might be. That's usually the safest route, the one that I work on first. If your cats are being little nosy buttheads, as sometimes they are, and they like to come sneak in and kind of, tempt fate, then you can also move them along, give them something to do at a further distance, give them a little licky mat or something, and then teach them to respect boundaries as much as you're teaching your puppy. So that's basically what I did with Adonis and Hermes. Hermes was a lot easier to just lock in the bathroom because he was tiny and he had his own little multi-level cage that he, lived in the first 4 months or so of his life until he was a year old. I got him at six months old. And then after that, he was free ranging from then on, up until now. And so, I had the benefit of Adonis being much older than a puppy. So Adonis had a lot more experience. Adonis was, I think, about 9 years old when I had Hermes, when I brought Hermes into the picture. So we had a lot of history already. Adonis was already older. He's not as young and spry, and Adonis was raised by my family cat, so he knows what it's like. He had a little tiny scar on his nose from when he was a puppy, and he got too close to the cat, and the cat said, "Yo!" So it was all good. Adonis was fine, and he's grown up to have a very soft mouth, where even if he does get into a scuffle with anybody, he doesn't even, he'll do this kind of motion with his teeth, but he doesn't even scratch the surface of the skin. He'll just walk away with a mouthful of hair or fur, luckily. So, he I miss that boy. He was such a good boy, such a good teacher, and I hope that you and your little babies have a long, wonderful, fruitful life together, and I'm sure that they will teach you, you will learn so much from each other. So even if anything I say doesn't help you, trust your pets most of all. They are the number one teacher. They will tell you what works and what doesn't. And being a Shiba, they are very honest. They are brutally honest. So thank you so much for reaching out. Thank you everyone for watching and for the kind comments. I'd love to hear about your little babies and the little ones that you rescue and that you save, or just the great little adventures you go on with your little fur babies, or scaly babies. So thanks again for the support, everyone. You all are awesome. Go give your little critters some kind of loving. Say howdy do for me. And until next time, practice peace, patience, and positivity.